Hey guys, Invertigo here. This podcast acts as the first in a potential series of chats we'll be having with notable people who have contributed to enriching the OCE community. On this episode, I'll be chatting with Buzz, who will be introducing himself in just a moment. Unfortunately, my facecam wasn't working at the time, but you'll still get to see Buzz as we get into some good banter. Thanks guys, enjoy.
Yeah. For a while, I was a Contenders player. Uh, Played in maybe like about four or something seasons. Ended up winning one, I think, in 2020. Got to play at MEO in 2019 on the big stage, which was sick at Rod Laver. Yeah, just played high level Australian Overwatch for quite some time, and now I've sort of taken a back seat. I'm just kind of just focusing on like streaming and yeah, just kind of playing the game strictly more to relax and enjoy as opposed to compete now. But it was definitely a fun thing to do while it lasted.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's a whole lot of different things, really. But I mean, it's awesome. You've gotten to compete, in LAN events, which honestly, not many people from OC Overwatch have done. Looking back on it, I think in the earlier years it was a bigger thing, but nowadays not really as much. Um,
Yeah, I do hope it comes back for sure. Like one of the big reasons why I initially pursued playing contenders and like competing was to play on stage.
yeah,
So I think I was very lucky that I got to tick that off my bucket list, and it was a freaking big stage at that. Like it was at like Rod Laver, like that was unreal. Uh, I do hope that stuff becomes comes back, whether it's with like I don't know Overwatch 2's contender stuff that are going on, or now that COVID's gone, because I just feel like to any other players that are like aspiring pros or whatever, I feel like that's an experience that I would love more people to have because it's unreal.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, even like MEO or even places like PAX, just being able to have like a LAN where the atmosphere is like full of energy and stuff like that is unreal. Like I've never played on the main stage myself, but having actually watched people, it's absolutely like just awesome to kind of feel how everything goes. Seeing some people who've gotten merch in the corner and seeing them, wave whatever they've got in their hands or you know doing whatever they're doing. It's really such an amazing atmosphere, and I don't know. I mean, I guess looking at how things are, kind of coming along with Overwatch 2, there seems to be a fair bit of hype. I don't know how much can be said at this point about like what will happen, but it seems like there's a fair few, older players and older people. They seem to be returning. Do you have kind of any hopes or thoughts about Overwatch 2 and all that?
I have lots of hopes. Like I'm definitely trying to be optimistic.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's too early to tell because obviously this beta is like it's a PvP closed beta. Like it's a test that's literally just showing us like the bare bones, like fundamentals of the games, like the balance changes, how things work. Like there's a lot. I think there's a lot they haven't shown us. At least,
Mm.
like obviously, there's a whole PvE aspect that we don't know about. But I think there's still a lot in the PvP space, whether it's maps or new heroes and stuff that we still don't know about. So I'm hopeful because I think when they feel the time is right, when they want to show us all that stuff, people will be excited. But I am just worried that the initial beta sort of left a bad taste in people's mouths, mainly
Mm.
casuals who like aren't as invested in the game because they probably played Overwatch after not playing for a few years. And
Yeah.
like, oh, Overwatch 2 just feels like the same shit, which I hear people
Mm.
say that all the time. And while that's frustrating as like someone, because I don't think it's necessarily true, I think it's probably important to still like respect that opinion from more casual players because as someone who's come back, like they probably wouldn't notice all the small changes we notice, all the quality of life stuff,
Mm.
less like CC, like one less tank, having stuff that have be a bit more higher skill ceiling, all the stuff that we appreciate that has plagued us in like Overwatch 1 for so long, less shields, they don't really care about. And it's like, oh, it's just Overwatch 1, but with like one less hero, like one less slot on each team.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's frustrating, but I do hope eventually when Blizzard want to give us a beta that has like all the juice content, heroes, new maps, or whatever, there's got to be something that they're working on
Mm.
that will actually hopefully bring people in and get people excited, and hopefully a competitive queue because quick play is so boring. Yeah.
True. That is definitely something I have heard from quite a few people. And I guess, yeah, reflecting on what you were saying, like, absolutely. I think the, standpoint between somebody who's been following all of the changes, all the patch notes, quite intricately versus somebody who's like, oh, Oh, they added Doomfist to the game. I last played when Ana was the latest hero. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's going to be
yeah,
very
100%.
different for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think something that they're doing differently now, which is quite interesting to see actually, in comparison to the past, was instead of like doing those developer update videos that, Aaron and Jeff were doing once every so often, it seems like the communication is a bit more incremental and ongoing, which
Yeah,
I kind of like, to be honest. It's different, but I
yeah.
think
They
it's
they have
good.
the developer blogs that they release,
Yeah.
which is I think is really good because commonly asked questions they end up addressing like every week or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I I do feel like Blizzard are taking steps in the right direction towards making a better game and like being more transparent with the fans of the game.
Mm,
But it'll definitely be like baby steps, I guess. Like I
of
think it
course.
might take a while until we realize like we're there, we're at a really good point because but they're slowly getting better. I definitely think they're getting better, slowly but surely.
Yeah. No, definitely, definitely. I mean, you can see the differences, whether it's the Zen kick or God, that is something. That is something.
Mm.
Yeah, like absolutely. I would tend to agree. I guess if we're rolling it back to Overwatch 1 for a sec then, in terms of, I guess, how it all started for you in terms of like esports and finding teams and stuff like that. Before you got into Overwatch, were you already invested in esports or was Overwatch your first thing?
Um, so previously, like when I was 16, I always wanted to. It's always been like my goal to compete on a stage, like
Hmm.
just in esports. I've always been, I think, pretty competitive with video games. My brother played a bit of Halo when I was younger, and I watched him like compete just at like a small local LAN, and that got me pretty excited, pretty fired up.
Ooh.
So I got into competitive Gears of War. I was playing that on my Xbox back as a 16-year-old. I went to a LAN that was unreal. Like we got smashed, but it was a fun experience.
Yeah.
Then I sort of like stopped after that. Went and studied, and then when I finished study, I was like, oh, Overwatch like just came out, or it was in like season like 1 or 2,
Yeah.
and I like just started playing it, and I was like, holy fuck, this is fun! I can play Reinhardt and just like swing my hammer. I'm like, this is awesome. And
Yeah.
then it got to a point. I think after playing like I don't know, I think after season 2, I was like, yeah, screw it. I think I'm going to try to just compete in this game and get as good as I can get. And
Hmm.
then yeah, just sent it from there. Really, like just Googled how to get in an Overwatch team. Like looked at all wherever like the OC Overwatch hub was at the time, and just sort of
Yeah.
worked from there.
Right. Okay,
So I
right.
guess I guess I guess it was very intentional. Like I know a lot of people like slip into it and they're like, oh, like I was doing because I like found some friends and then I just really got into it. But I think from like day one for me, I was pretty intentional on like competing and stuff
Hmm.
like that.
Definitely, definitely. I think yeah, that's pretty cool that you had, I guess, a little bit of that past experience, that little taste, and you kind of, I guess, wanted a bit more from that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I can't say I've actually heard of a competitive Gears of War scene, but it's very cool to know that it was quite a thing.
I mean, like very small, I guess.
Yeah.
I think in obviously in America it's probably bigger, but yeah, pretty
Hmm.
small in Australia. I remember at the LAN though, they asked us. We had a game coming up, like, oh hey, do you guys want to play on the main stage? Even though it was a pretty like
Oh.
it was just at like I don't know function room. It wasn't
Yeah.
much of a main stage, but I was like, holy shit! I was like, that's my dream right there. But then
Yeah.
we didn't end up getting there because some COD guys took the main stage.
Ah, shame.
And I was thinking the other day, I was like, oh, maybe you know what, maybe I'm lucky they took it because then I wouldn't have maybe if I'd played that, I would have been satisfied and wouldn't have gone hard in Overwatch
Maybe, yeah.
and yeah,
Maybe, yeah. It's interesting to
blessing in
think.
disguise.
Yeah, potentially. Right. So you joined whatever server you found. And so I guess, well, was it like 2016, 2017 where you kind of like started looking to compete and all that? Was at that point, was there already a contender circuit established or was it kind
I
of
think
like,
I
yeah,
think 2018 maybe because I
2018?
finished studying in like 2017.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, I'm pretty sure I'm a bit fuzzy on the dates. No, there wasn't contenders. There was like APAC and there was Full Circle Esports run like their own tournaments. There was just like tournaments just run by into like what do you say? Just by third parties essentially.
Yeah.
Heaps. there was plenty, which I miss, by the way, man. I'm so
Mm,
upset that Blizz got rid of third-party tournaments. That really fucked the scene,
it really did. Yeah.
or stuffed up the scene
Agree.
for a while. But yeah, so it was just like a bunch of third-party tournaments that were going on. That I entered. Well, I found a team through. I don't know if it was through Cybergamer or through the old OC Overwatch Hub, but
Jeez.
found my first team called Riders. That was cool. I was with those guys for like a whole year, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was with them for quite some time, and I joined them when I was a diamond player, and they were all like masters and shit, and I like do it with them, and I had got to masters, and I felt like I was boosted, but they're like, nah, man, don't worry, like
Yeah.
done well, like you deserve this rank, and I was like, oh, okay, I feel sort of good, and then I never dropped out of masters after then. I was like, oh, okay, I
Yeah.
feel sort of warranted, but yeah,
Yeah.
those guys are really good and sort of like giving me a helping hand and really like getting me into the scene and like yeah, first into it.
Right. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, oh, absolutely. Like if you are, I guess in this case, rank wise, the lowest player on a team, I feel like that can be a point of leverage where you can kind of really bounce up and learn from the people around you if you
A
take
hundred
it in mind.
percent, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So no, that's awesome to hear. And I guess in regards to the tournament stuff, I don't know if Blizzard will be looking to change that. And yeah, honestly, there were many many tournaments in the past, and I guess in other esports when other games have opened up, you've kind of seen it a little bit more. I mean, recent examples, it's not that recent, but like Valorant, for example, that's had so many tournaments kind of happen with it, and that
Yeah,
really kicked off quite well. And there's other games as well out there. I think I don't know how big they are, but like the Halo scene, I think there was a whole plan out for like a year from I forgot what company. I think it was
mm.
ESL, right? That was working with 343. Um,
I do remember seeing like a whole plan for it.
yeah,
Although I think the Halo scene's pretty. I don't know how it's doing right now, but
nor do I.
all esports in Australia just kind of buckles. It's hard,
Yeah, it
really
it
hard.
does. It definitely does. Right. So being on a team for a year, actually, I have to say that is a long time for a team in just
I think it
esports as a
was
whole.
it was at least close to a year. I'm not sure if it was like over or exactly, but it was close in the very least.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really just flew by, like being on
Mm.
that team. I
Yeah.
definitely do think I got a bit comfortable, at some stages and maybe like
Mm.
overstayed like how long I should have been on there for. But yeah, it
Yeah.
was it was really nice. Like good friends with the guys, and I think that's something that I've like loved about competing.
Mm.
Is the people that you're playing on a team with like end up becoming your friends because you're literally spending so much time together, and there's like a nice sort of camaraderie. What's the word?
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah, say it.
Camaraderie.
Camaraderie. There's not. Yep.
You're all
This
good.
sort of comes with playing in a team. That's something that I really like, really value in like my experience playing in teams.
Yeah. No, for sure. Is that, I guess, maybe part of the reason why that was a longer experience for you because you really enjoyed that atmosphere that you were in?
Um, yeah, I think to some degree, yes.
Okay.
Uh, Obviously, per different like I was saying before, I probably overstayed my welcome because I was comfortable in that team,
Yeah.
and because it was easier to stay with them to branch out and look for more opportunities.
Mm.
But then eventually, yeah, it came to a point where I guess I sort of had some self reflection, and I was like, oh well, I want to get better and I want to like climb and stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like these guys are like in it for the long term or in it because they want to keep growing and stuff.
Yeah.
So I sort of DM'd everyone. I think it was like at midnight or something. Um, so I just like DM'd everyone, just be like, hey, like just curious what like what your goals are and stuff like that, and where everyone's
Mm.
heads at with competing. And then when I got all the responses back, I sort of realized that everyone was like they're there for fun, but I think my values were a lot different to everyone else's on the team.
Yeah.
So that's when I sort of decided it would be best to split because I think I wanted to take it a lot more seriously than the other guys were willing to.
Yeah, for sure.
Because some of them were studying, so that, like they had other commitments and shit. So uh, it was like more of a fun thing for them. Like not that it wasn't fun for me, but it was fun. But it was also like I had like a goal, I
Yeah.
guess, in the end of it. Yeah. So I ended up, yeah, that was what pushed me away from them.
Mm.
That could have probably happened earlier, but yeah, again, I was comfortable and like
Yeah.
they're all good mates, and we had so much fun playing together. So
Of
yeah.
course. Yeah, no, fair enough. First team and everything like that. I mean,
Mm.
I guess taking my perspective as like an organer who's seen, many players and many teams and all that sort of stuff, I think to be able to have a sustainable team experience, like even if you're friends and all that sort of stuff, at the end of the day, it is a team, and you want to be able to have, same or similar goals to work towards.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, you want to work towards it in potentially, I guess it might vary a little bit from player to player, but in a similar way, If everybody, has the same goal, but maybe one person just wants to scrim once a week and one person wants to scrim 5 times a week,
Yeah.
you're going to have that clash as well.
Yeah, and I made a tweet about it the other day, but I've
Mm.
seen just from my experience, like whenever I'm in and I have a friend who's in like a tier 3 team and I come to spec or I'm coming to like coach or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't think there's a team that I've heard about that is not having some sort of team drama with like not having enough players or people leaving or people not getting along and all this shit. Which is why I made a tweet. So like, I feel like if or you get people just be like, hey man, or like, what are you here for? Like,
hmm
what are your goals? What's your expectations? What do you want to get out of it? I feel like putting that on the table straight away will probably,
Yeah.
I think, avoid a lot of those issues because, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've seen like I mean, it happens in tier 2 as well, but I don't think I've seen
Mm.
like a tier 3 team or a majority of the tier 3 teams I see are just like barely functional, at least in OCE, with players fighting and leaving and all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff.
Definitely.
From my personal experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, 100%. There are many teams that definitely encounter that. And I guess, kind of like you said, whenever, I don't know, I kind of encourage managers, whenever I get the opportunity to chat with them about this, to kind of say to players, before, like bring them on board, being like, okay, what's your goal type of thing? What is it that you want to get out of this ultimately? And I've noticed that there has been some sort of success with it to a certain extent as well. I guess not to like brag or anything like that, but we've had teams who have been around for a while, because they've had a similar sort of goal or pathway to that goal, and I think that
Yeah, it's
really
awesome.
helps a lot.
Mm.
Of course, that's not only us. There are many teams across OC that have that. I mean, some examples are from like tier 3, like what are they called? No Ducks Given and stuff like that. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they are, I think, like a Plat Diamond team, but they've been around for a very long time.
That's
Um,
cool.
so stuff like that, absolutely. Um, yeah, so that's pretty cool. So all right, that's the Overwatch team side. So, with the Overwatch team side, I believe whilst you have been involved with teams and all that sort of stuff, you also did kind of pick up streaming. So, what was that, I guess, transition like? Like, why did you do it? Yeah.
So I mean, like, I just always heard that, if you're a competitive player, like, why not just turn on stream or something? Because if anything, it might help you get scouted or whatever. So that was kind of like my first thought on why I should pick up like start streaming.
Mm.
And then it just became like literally I would scrim like 6 to 10 or something, and then I just turn on stream 3 hours after to like 1 a.m. and just QOCE and just like it just became and it was fun to do. Like
mm.
I started doing it again because I was like, oh, why not stream and like put myself out there. And then it was sort of cool because I think the OCE scene is quite small, especially in the
Yeah.
higher elo. And then it sort of became like a nice, I don't know. I guess it became cool because you get familiar with everyone in the queues, like especially the same people playing most of the time, and it was it was kind of nice. Like I just sort of started enjoying it, just playing on OS, just seeing like friends in the queues or people that you might not know well, and getting to know them, getting to play on a team with them, seeing how good everyone is. Like, yeah, it was just a fun experience. I think.
Mm.
I remember one of my friends was like, "Bro, I don't know how you finish up scrims and then to go stream for 3 hours." I'm like, "Oh, like I don't really think about it like that. It's just like fun to do. Just hang out, so take it easy after scrims, just keep playing a game that I enjoy." So it started out as that,
Mm.
and then I think, and I guess for a long time, like competing was the priority, and I was just like streaming just a few hours whenever I could. But eventually, I started taking it a bit more seriously, just as it sort of like built up naturally.
Yeah.
Um, and I started playing on NA. But yeah, first and foremost, it was always because I just wanted to get scouted. But I started playing on NA after a while just because that's sort of how to get your name out there.
Mm.
Unfortunately, like you have to go
Yeah.
to America. But yeah, yeah,
Okay. Right. I mean, that's pretty cool. One thing I think is very interesting about streaming as a, I don't know, as a competitive player and all that sort of stuff. I think when it comes down to it, certain circles of people know each other and all that sort of stuff in OC, even though it's small. Yeah, while a lot of
Mm.
people do know each other, you know, there's some people who are low tier three who may have not even known about the contender scene as a whole, and vice versa. So I think streaming is the sort of thing that can kind of conquer that border that lies between those different levels and kind of go, okay, this is content for pretty much anyone. And I
Yeah,
think
for sure.
I don't know, based on what I have seen of your stream, you kind of do have that level of appeal because obviously, at the higher end, you know people, you're in that level, so people know you there. But I think also based on you've gotten involved in a few different things like streamer events and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think through that you've also probably exposed yourself to a more, I don't know, casual, I guess base of
Yeah.
fans. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. It's something I've noticed. Like, obviously, when I started streaming, it was more just people just watching that were either in the scene that I kind of knew or we had mutuals. But
Mm.
now, yeah, it is a bit wider. Like, I'll get people that I don't necessarily know, but they'll be in the scene, maybe in tier three. Yeah, which is really cool. Actually, I've never really thought about it bridging a gap. But I guess there aren't really a lot of other OCE like contenders players who stream or like in that elo.
Mm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's very true. That's very true. Are you making a monopoly or something? What's going on, mate?
Yes, a monopoly of the very large and uh, profitable OCE scene. Yes.
Very
Yeah,
true.
definitely. You got
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. What can I say? Yeah. No. I mean, that's really cool to hear. I guess with streaming, obviously you've outlined your goal with esports, kind of make it to the stage and all that sort of stuff. With streaming, like, do you have an end goal in mind?
Um, I mean, like, I would love to do this. I don't know about full time, but I would just love to get to a point where I'm making enough money that it's like sustainable and I can justify like the amount of time I put into streaming to like what I get back.
Yeah.
Just like paying the bills and shit.
Mm.
Like doing it full time hours wise, I'm not sure. I have like so many other interests and stuff that I like doing that I think how at least how I've figured out how my brain works is like I think I like doing different things.
Yeah.
That makes
Gotcha.
sense. A good day for me is like I'll stream for a bit, then I'll do some video editing, and then maybe I'll like go work out, and then maybe I'll do some study.
Yeah.
Like as opposed to just like doing one big day of streaming, then one big day of study. I just sort of
Yeah.
like to just to break it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess like streaming is so fun, and the now that I've taken a step away from playing competitively, I am enjoying streaming in for a different way because
Mm.
before at the end of the day I'd turn on stream, but my main goal is just to play good, like
Yeah.
play matchmaking, do well, just work on like getting better. But now because I've moved away from that, it's like like I just want to have fun. I just want to like turn on stream for the day and just like have a good time, and hopefully other people that are watching can enjoy and
Yeah.
maybe have a good time themselves and like enjoy the time they get to spend in the stream. So it's the focus on the stream has changed a lot more. But
Mm.
shit, what was the question? I think I got a little bit lost.
No, no, no. That's all good. That's all good. You can get lost. It's fine. I was just asking you about, like, I guess the end goal, but you kind of answered that in a way.
Yeah. Like end goal is just hopefully making it
Mm.
sustainable, which would be really really nice. But you definitely have to put in a lot of time.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, a lot of time to get to that point.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I guess touching up on your point before about you liking to do different things throughout the day. I mean, I suppose in a way that's it's a bit more of a sustainable thing to do. For some people, it can be very full on, kind of having to deal with so many things at a time. I suppose if we're going into, I guess sports psychology a little bit, there's distress versus eustress. Like how you take on those stresses, whether it's like to the point where you're overloaded, or whether it's to the point where you're kind of taking on the challenge and you can be productive because
Yeah.
of it. So.
Yeah.
I suppose maybe that's something that you have learnt being a player and all that sort of stuff, but I suppose eustress is a good way to kind of tackle those things coming on at once, and honestly is a pretty good thing for life as a whole. It's very it's very difficult for things to be sustainable, if you're just fixated on just one thing and that's it. And
Yeah,
I don't know if that's really, only Overwatch or Overstream. I mean, I think that's just a life thing as a whole. Um,
I
but
def I def
yeah,
I definitely found too. Like with streaming, because there was a time period before I was studying. I went like back to studying, and like when I was sort of finished with Contenders, where I was just streaming and like sort of working casually, and because streaming was like the main thing I was doing. You almost get dependent on it, like emotionally. Like you have a bad stream, you're like, oh, this is shit. Like what the fuck? Like
mm,
you sort of get upset, and it's almost like your happiness sort of just like is revolving around those numbers
yeah,
that you're getting when it's the only thing you do.
mm,
Obviously, at the same time, that might be good for some people because maybe they'll just like go hard and they'll just grind
yeah,
and they'll do all this shit. But to a certain point, I do like to do things naturally. Like I don't want to force myself to make like content for content's sake,
yeah, of course,
and like do all this stuff just to spit out like content, just so I've hit my daily Instagram post for the day.
yeah,
So I did find it really hard, like when stream was the only thing I was doing, just to just enjoy it,
yeah,
and like even if the numbers aren't good. Whereas now that I'm doing other things, I can log on stream and like maybe I won't play Overwatch and my numbers will be shit, but I'm still gonna have a good time because it's
yeah,
streaming is like now like my relaxed time.
mm,
But yeah, I guess just finding that balance between like doing it to relax because you enjoy it, and then obviously if you want to make something out of it, there's like a weird middle ground, I guess, that
yeah,
I'm still trying to find. Yeah.
yeah. No, that's entirely fair enough. And honestly, I couldn't give you any advice for that. I actually never streamed on Twitch in my life, so there you go. I think,
Yeah, no stress.
yeah.
Trust the process, I guess. I'm figuring out as I go, like
Mm.
learning a little bit more each day, and yeah.
Yeah, oh, definitely, definitely. And look, honestly, I think, as you'll probably know, it's fine if you do things besides Overwatch. I mean, literally, the other night when I came into your stream, you were playing Hearthstone, and, it was chill. Ultimately,
Mm,
personally, I was watching just to interact with you. Hearthstone's cool. I enjoy Hearthstone, don't get me wrong. But, I was there for you. And I think other people are going to have whatever reasons they have. But at the end of the day, people are going to be there for you. I'd like to
yeah,
think.
yeah.
I'd like to
Yeah,
think.
for sure. I like, and there's always going to be people who are there just for Overwatch,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
That's not a bad thing. That's just how it
No,
is, right?
of
And
course.
you just gotta think about like who are you streaming for? Like,
Mm.
you know what I mean? You stream for the people who like want to rock up and hang out with you, or the people who just want to watch Overwatch or
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah, I definitely do think sort of this is, I guess, unrelated and a bit of a tangent, but I definitely do
No,
think I'm
go
going
for
to
it.
be now that Overwatch 2 has come out and we've
Mm.
been given just freaking quick play and no comp, and then we're going to have to go back to playing Overwatch 1 and playing comp on the inferior game, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think I'm not going to play as much Overwatch
fair
because
enough.
it's just at least until the next beta. Like I'm still going to play, a few days a week, but
Yeah,
I think it's just hard to bring myself to play comp
yeah.
for like a double shield like stunts. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how I
Yeah.
feel.
No, of
I think
course.
that's where my head's at the moment. Unrelated, but yeah,
Yeah, no, no, totally fair enough. I mean, I think honestly with that, quite a few people are kind of feeling that because it ends on what, the 18th, I think, for us.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
soon.
So, I mean, based on that, I don't know when we're gonna get the next beta or whatever it is gonna happen. Like, I don't think anybody really knows. But yeah, look, that's totally understandable. I think some people, honestly, I found some people don't enjoy Overwatch 2, what we've gotten so far, as much as Overwatch
Mm.
1, for, I guess, whatever their own. If they're a support player, I can understand a little bit why, but I think it's changing a bit as well. Um, I don't know. It's interesting to kind of just see how people's perceptions are of all that, because I don't know. We're gonna go back to stuns, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard a few people say they like Overwatch 1 better, but I don't know. I think until we have a comp mode, I just find that it's so hard for me to tell
Yeah,
a lot of things about Overwatch 2 until I can play competitive in like balanced teams or
yeah,
more balanced teams,
yeah,
better balanced teams, and like with people playing to win and like everyone sort of in a similar mindset. Whereas like with quick
Mm.
play, you can have one person that's like texting with one hand and playing with the other, someone
Yeah,
who's like chilling. The SR disparity could be like intense, so
Yeah,
it's really hard to tell like what's good, what's not.
yeah,
And yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, look, that's a pretty good point. To be honest, I didn't even get Overwatch 2. I am so bad. I forgot to actually turn on like a stream
Oh
overnight.
shit!
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So I personally have actually never played it, but
Oh damn, dude.
yeah, I know I'm missing out. I'm missing out. I know. Trust me. I think about
I
it
mean,
every day.
like if anything, at least it's not spoiling your like if you ever play Overwatch One within the next like few months. At least I won't spoil how you feel about Overwatch One.
True, true.
Somewhat,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know how much
Oh,
videos you watch, but yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. We've run a few different like pickup games, pugs for Overwatch 2. I think
yep.
might host another one just before the beta finishes. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the atmosphere is really fun. I have to say, when we've run those things, it's really
Mm.
fun. I think people are like genuinely enjoying themselves when they do play, which is really good to see. And it's something I haven't really seen as much of with Overwatch 1 in recent times.
Yeah.
But that's all right. Um, yeah. So okay, so there's obviously all these things that you're kind of juggling with. You've got your streaming, kind of got your Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2. You've got all that. I guess you also mentioned, gym and stuff like that. So I guess does fitness kind of play a role in your life that's kind of significant, or how does it kind of work for you?
I mean, only recently, like it's becoming more of a I think a part in my life.
Hmm.
Like I still think I'm pretty fresh into it all. So I'm studying at the moment. I just finished
Yeah.
my Cert 3 in fitness,
Oh,
and I'm doing my
fantastic.
Cert 4, and I just got a job, pretty much just running like group circuit training, like a few days a week,
Yeah.
which is so yeah. So like I'm slowly getting into it. It's something that I've always been conscious about that I have like I think neglected. Like when I was competing, I definitely neglected my health a little bit.
Hmm.
Really wish I had spent a bit more time making sure I felt good. Like
Yeah.
because I really think it helps you even if you're playing video games. Like I think just
Hmm.
working out, just doing cardio or like doing resistance, like lifting weights or whatever it is, just doing something like that, I think helps you in so many different ways.
Hmm.
Even if it's just like trying to get better performance out of playing games.
Yeah.
Obviously, haven't done any tests, any case studies, but I do think generally you feel a lot better when you work out and especially eat well. So I do think that's something that's very overlooked by gamers.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know what? Especially probably in the last couple of years, we've had, obviously we've had lockdown after lockdown. Especially if you're, from Melbourne around here, it's just been lockdown central. I guess this
Yeah,
year so far has been, a bit better in that regard. There haven't been really lockdowns. I think we're kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel with all that sort of stuff. Um, I don't know. I suppose in that time, I feel like a lot of people may have not really kind of gotten on top of their health. I think a lot of people, stayed inside just because that's kind of what it was.
yeah.
Personally, myself, I can definitely say that I stayed inside for a fair bit of it, but granted, I was also studying a bit. So, um, I don't know. Like, how important do you feel fitness is when it comes down to, like, mixing it in with gaming and stuff like that?
I mean, like yeah, very. I think for anyone it's important, right? Like
Mm,
it's just about keeping your body active, and I think in turn, like your mind sort of reaps the benefits as well.
no.
Whether you do something and you push yourself and you feel better because of it, or you're just kind of just keeping active and just you might feel more alert after it because you're working out and like
Yeah.
yeah. I don't really know how to answer that question, but yeah, I guess I
Yeah.
think it's important. Like I think that there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. No, look, fully understandable. I guess with maybe a fair few people, some people may not have, weights or something like that at their disposal. I mean, sure, they can buy it, but if they don't have it, they don't have it. Do you reckon that there's a fair few things that can kind of be done at home to kind of circumvent that?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Look, I think power bands are really good as well.
Yeah.
Like you can buy, I think my partner got hers for like on Amazon for like maybe $30.
All right.
And they're just essentially just like, do you know what power bands are?
No, I'm gonna be entirely honest. No, I don't.
They're just no, 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 no. That's fine. I'm sure you've seen them before. They're just like like resistance bands. They come in
Okay.
like different colors of different resistances. They might
Ah.
some of them are small just to go around like your legs or whatever, but some of them are like really big and can stretch long.
Okay.
And you can replicate like a lot of stuff you do with weights with the power bands.
Okay.
And they're super cost effective. So like if you're just starting out, I mean, and there's also with it, even without bands, there's a lot of stuff you can do with your body, like
Yeah.
just with body weight. Um, yeah, I think even if it's just something small to start with, I
Mm.
think slowly building those habits is probably a good way to go, and it's better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
I I don't have a gym membership myself. I used to have one like back in the day, but I just like can't be bothered paying so much money for it.
Yeah.
But like I have a few dumbbells that I've slowly bought like weight equipment as the
Yeah.
years go on, um, which is enough like just to do like a pretty good full body like thing, like full
Yeah.
body like workout. You know, I do like upper lower split.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm going to go a little bit further now and invest more money than I think the average person probably needs to, just because like
Okay.
I want stuff to help me like learn and study and all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, look, man, I think exercise is super accessible. There's
Okay.
so much you can do without weight. So much you can do without weight.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
again, I think it just comes to like educating people
Mm.
and maybe making that knowledge more accessible.
Yeah.
I don't think that's something that's super common in the esports space. Is like, yeah, which is I guess also like the original reason I started studying because I would love to be able to be like a PT or do something for like an esports team and just help them with like their health
Yeah.
and taking care of themselves. I think that would be really cool. Or even maybe going further and studying physio
Oh
and
wow.
doing that sort of thing for esports players. But I don't know if I want to, spend a few years studying a physio degree. So
Fair enough.
that's just things in the back of my mind, just what I might like to do in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's entirely fair. I mean, look, I don't know how many Overwatch teams in particular have, physios or anything like that. Maybe they do.
Mhm.
I don't know. But I think that'd be like a really cool way of you being able to branch a couple of interests and kind of bridge them together because, I
Yeah.
mean, it's fantastic.
I definitely think at the end of the day, I do want to work in video games. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, I'm too much of a nerd. Like, something that I've noticed too. Like, I've played video games all my life growing up. I've played card games, played Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever it
Same.
is.
Let's go.
And like, yeah, yeah. And like, even I guess working in, because I've sort of been working like very, very slightly, just put my feet in the door and like working in the fitness industry and stuff.
Yeah.
People I meet and work with, like they're all lovely people, but I just know like interests are so different at the end of the day, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I think I would love to stay working in esports because everyone is sort of like minded in some ways. Like
Yeah.
there's just so much more to relate on because I literally didn't play much sports growing up. I quit tennis as
Ah.
soon as I could. Hated
Oof.
football and shit and stuff. So like,
Yeah.
I literally grew up being anti-sport.
Oh wow.
So I've had an interesting turnaround, but
Jeez.
uh, but yeah, definitely want to stay working in esports in some way or another,
Yeah.
however I can, even if it's fitness.
Yeah, look, for sure, absolutely. And there are definitely ways of doing that. Obviously, the esports scene in OC is a rather embryonic scene. It's rather small and it hasn't been around for that long.
Mm,
It is steadily growing. Honestly,
yeah,
what I've kind of found personally is outside of Overwatch, like there are lots of very very big orgs that have done a fair bit. For example, do you know Bliss by any chance or no?
is that an org?
Yeah, Bliss Esports. No,
Nope.
so they're based in a few games, but one game that they have been based a fair bit in, which is where I got my knowledge from, is Valorant. And
Okay,
their logo is kind of like a lotus. It's got like the color of your hair, pretty much.
right.
So it's actually really cool. What they have is in Queensland, they have this like HQ. So they have like education sessions for like parents and kids for like learning about esports and gaming. They have like a LAN set up for their own teams, but also that can be hired out. They have a few different things like that. So it depends on like what you want your individual contribution to be. But I
Yeah,
think if you're in esports, you can kind of have your own thing that you do that actually positively contributes.
yeah, yeah.
So something like working as a personal trainer or something like that, or a physio, honestly, it can go a long way. I suppose there just needs to be the space for it. And
Yeah,
yeah,
Look, I definitely think there is a niche for it.
Mm.
I think it will become more commonplace as time goes on,
Yeah.
and as esports becomes more like normalized, and as you start making more money. I'm pretty confident like that there's American or Korean teams or whatever that have more funding that can afford those sort of things.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
definitely not a thing in Australia right now,
No.
unless there's like one balling like lol team that has heaps of money. But
Oh, maybe.
yeah, yeah. I definitely think there's a space for it.
Mm.
It's just trying to figure out a way in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also, I don't want to. I don't want to move to America, so it's hard.
Yeah. No.
like,
Definitely.
I love Australia too much. The thought of like having to move to America for work just seems awful. That's like one of the reasons that I sort of lost interest in Al as well, because I just didn't want to move to the States.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Fair
it's hard.
enough.
It's hard.
Understandable.
I want to work. I want to work in video games and esports, but America seems like the place to be in a lot of ways. So it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No. Look,
challenging.
I feel the same. I absolutely feel the same with you. 100% of the way through. I want to be involved in this scene too. I don't want to have to move to America or Korea or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's great here. I mean, we have things here like bloody Fortress, which is also going to be in Sydney, but
Yes, love Fortress. I'm a big fan of Fortress. It goes hard.
Same.
Yeah.
I actually organized a work event there recently. It was pretty fun.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I know, it was really cool. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to think that we have something that we can build up upon. Like it's there. We just have to kind of grow it, and we have to find ways to, I guess, almost incentivize people to be interested in it as well. And that's kind of the hard part.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard. But yeah, look, there's definitely niches. I actually brought in a friend of mine who's an esports psychologist from OCE. I don't know how many of them there are, but yeah, she works with like a bunch of international teams, but she also works with OCE teams, and she's pretty great too. So yeah, I think if you want to make your mark, it is possible. It's just probably difficult to start off with.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Though it'd be a hard way to get in, especially because there's not really a road paved for it already. You sort of have to do it yourself. I
Exactly.
think with a lot of these sort of new, I guess, niches that are like available.
Yeah.
Not like I'm following some people who are like physios in esports, and a lot of them,
Yeah.
even though they're very qualified physios and stuff, there's only a handful of them are doing physio and esports full time. Like a lot of them are doing physio and esports like part time, and then just not working at a clinic for the most of the time, because even in America it's still quite difficult to get into and make it a full time gig.
For sure. Yeah. Look, that's very true, and I guess I kind of wonder though a little bit, over the lockdown period that we did have. Part of me thinks that esports kind of grew, but I suppose if you look at at Overwatch, for example, it doesn't seem like it has. But I think as a whole it has. It's one of those weird things.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really have any too much thoughts on that. I haven't noticed it myself.
Yeah.
But again, I'm quite in the Overwatch scene and not really in other ones as much. So
fair enough.
And like you said, I don't know if Overwatch has grown over the past in OCE.
Yeah.
If anything, after the beta, like less and less people are interested. But
potentially, yeah. No, look, that's absolutely a fair point. Yeah. I mean, I guess with all of that, kept in mind, is there anything that you kind of had thoughts on or wanted to ask about or anything like that?
No, not that I can think of.
No, that's all good. That's all good. Well, if that's the case, then I think I'm happy to wrap it up here.
Sick.
It has been an honest pleasure having this chat with you, Bus, or whatever you'd like me to call you. Hello, it's Bus.
Bus is fine. I get called Bus in real life, so I am.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just who I am now.
Gotcha. So, okay, when was the last time that you actually got on a bus, though?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, right?
Bus on a bus.
Yeah. Surely people make that joke. Surely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just made it before you did, because I was like, if I hear it one more time.
All right. Look, fair point. Point taken. I won't make that joke. I'll leave that to you to make. But yeah, no, that's all good. Well, honestly, it has been an absolute pleasure, and yeah, I think I can say I've certainly gotten a lot of insight from this chat, and I hope that everybody who sees this will also kind of see the same and see, what you're getting up to and what your thoughts are.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
no, absolute pleasure. Well, hope you have a good day ahead.
Thanks, dude.
Cheers. See you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.